Good afternoon, Flyers fans, and welcome back to the Clear the Ice, the Flyers postgame show here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network today with your boy Matty B on the call. And I guess that's why the Avalanche are the Avalanche and the Flyers are the Flyers. Trying to wrap my head around this game, actually, because, going into it, you had an opportunity. Flyers coming off of a 3-day break, hadn't played since Wednesday. The Avalanche played yesterday. The Avalanche decided to go back-to-back with Mackenzie Blackwood. He played yesterday, but he played again today, and the Flyers somehow could not muster up enough offense to overcome a 3-1 deficit that their goaltender, Sam Ersson, put them in. And end up losing today 3-2 to the Avalanche. I said this the other night when I did post-game activities here on the network, that if you wanted to put that another mark on that wall in the rebuild process, this was a game that you should look towards. And everything heading into this game really favored the Flyers. And again, that's why the Avalanche are a perennial Stanley Cup contender. And the Flyers are a work in progress. Just a frustrating day and a frustrating game. Matinee time down there at the arena today. Flyers lose 3-2. And how can you not, I don't want to say put blame on Sam Ersson or place the blame in the loss for Sam Ersson, but how much more do we got to see? Or more importantly, how much more does Rick Tocchet have to see of this guy in net to realize he's just not the guy? And another question, why do you come out of a 3-day break and you go with Ersson? I know the Flyers have a few games. It's going to be 4 games this week, 3 games the following week leading into Christmas. Maybe he wants to set up the rotation and how he's going to flow these goalies. But it's hard for me to understand why you don't go back with your starter, Vladar, on coming off of a 3-day break. And, and maybe did he think that did Tocchet think they were going to go with Minter in Colorado, not go back-to-back with Blackwood? And, again, we could talk a lot about this game in the parallel lines or the not-so-parallel lines between these two clubs. But you're looking at a team that was in New York City yesterday in the Avalanche. Had to go to, overtime against the Rangers? Mackenzie Blackwood played in that game. So what did they do? They turn around with Mackenzie Blackwood in this game. And he was just about as dominant as he was today. And again, the parallel or not-so-parallel lines between the Avalanche and the Flyers in the goaltending department, of course, on display here today as the Flyers just could not get enough offense. You could not generate enough offense, couldn't skate past a team that played yesterday. And they lose 3-2 in a very frustrating way down there in South Philadelphia. Welcome back to the program. It's great to see you guys to wrap up another Flyers week or start another Flyers week here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Here's your schedule for the rest of this week. Remaining today, I should say, on this network, you got the Steel City postgame show. It's going to follow me up as soon as the Steeler game goes final. And then later on tonight, I know it wasn't on the original schedule for the 7th, but I will be back for the final word. But this is what it'll look like this week here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Again, 4 Flyers games on the tilt for this week as the Flyers are back at it after having a somewhat easy time of it this week as they were preparing for this week. So just trying to wrap my head around the frustration that was today. Sam Ersson how much more do we got to see? And I know it's not as simple that. I'm sure that if this was a different situation in a different team with a different goaltending situation, it wouldn't be a question. But it's very frustrating to watch Sam Ersson sort of, slam his way through a game, honestly. But Flyers lose 3-2. These aforementioned Sam Ersson on the day for the Flyers. Let's talk about Mackenzie Blackwood going back-to-back as he played yesterday as well. 25 shots faced, 23 saves. Finishes the day with a .920 save percentage. For the Flyers, it was Sam Ersson in the net. He faced 28 shots, made 25 saves with a .893 save percentage. And I guess you would think the way I'm talking about Urson, the Flyers lost 8-0. No, but again, the goals that we've become accustomed to seeing Sam Urson surrender were on display, and it was frustrating. You know, the dot area, for any. I'm sure the tape is out there, and I'm sure teams are attacking him specifically from distance with a little elevation, far side over that right shoulder, and that seems to be where. That's the money shot when it comes to dealing with Sam Urson. He just doesn't play that well at all. He's consistently going down into that butterfly way too soon, and it exposes that whole top half of that net far side. Up close, Urson, he's pretty damn good. He had a breakaway stone job today. A lot of the stuff up close from him is pretty good. But the Flyers don't play. The Flyers play a defensive style, and it's on display. We're going to break that down today because the Flyers' defensive style was on display today very, very obviously. They play to the net. They play tight to the net. They don't like to give up things in front of the net. They concede the shot from distance. Maybe you need to alter that when Sam Urson is in net. Matter of fact, Vladar struggles with that too. But the Flyers' defensive style is to give up that open shot with the expectation that it's going to get saved, and then they can kind of clean up the rebound or get the puck away from or out front of the net, out of danger. But Urson struggles so badly with that dot shot that's got elevation over that right far side shoulder. Game after game, you see it being exploited by other teams, and today was no different by the Avalanche. So let's waste no more time. No Eagles today, by the way. So you got an Eagles-free Sunday here on the network. We're going to talk hockey for the next half hour or so, and then we'll get you ready for some Steelers postgame if you're waiting around for that. But let's talk this hockey game for the Flyers today. Their healthy scratches were Carl Grunderstrom, Cam York dealing with that injury problem. He's listed day-to-day, and the recently recalled Ty Murchison. For the Flyers, they were your healthy scratches. For the Avalanche, they went with Scott Wedgwood and Ilka Slovyov. He was a healthy scratch for the Colorado Avalanche in this game. So let's break it down. Let's start it up. The Flyers would get on the board first in this one at the 2:09 mark of that first period. Sean Couturier on his 900th game of his career on his birthday. The tip-in job in front, his 5th of the year from Yulson and Tippett to give the Flyers that early 1-0 lead. And I don't know if you were feeling good about that. I certainly was, because I was expecting the Flyers to be a little bit more energetic and come out and get on top of this team early, and they did. Let's take a look at that goal. Let's bring it up here. Again, it's nice to see Couturier with the goal, especially on his birthday, right? Especially on his guy's birthday. We're gonna pick up play as the Flyers are gonna enter the zone. Oh, what the heck is Couturier? Like he's doing what the heck is he doing there? It's interesting technique. Flyers will enter the zone as the puck is bouncing around. Couturier is going to do what every smart young centerman does. He's going to go to that nice little decision there. I don't know if it's you're going to play the carom. Flyers will move the puck around. They played really good here as they got the Avalanche kind of chasing a bit on this play. Nice stick work to kind of keep the puck alive around the half board. Tippett's going to play it back, or he's going to possess the puck, come down. Now, I want you to keep an eye on Michkov, and Michkov's right here behind this guy. Michkov's going to come flash to the center, then he's going to work his way near side of the net. Interesting that he got away with this. This was a borderline call, if you ask me. So this is a design play. But let's look at Tippett doing really good work. Now look at Michkov. So here's the thing: when we can talk about pick plays. We talk about them a lot in football. We talk a lot about them in basketball. It works in hockey too, but it's also in the same sort of context. In hockey, you can't aggressively look for a pick. You can't move into a pick. You got to set and be drawn into it. And Michkov is dangerously close here as he's moving towards the situation, and then there he goes. He actually kind of leans into the pick. That's interference, folks. They're lucky they didn't get that called on him. If it would be me out there wearing the old orange stripe across or orange armband across my arm, I would have put my hand up. That was a penalty. That was an interference call. on Michkov. You can't necessarily actively go after the player and try to pick him off like that, but they did not call it, and the Flyers will retain possession, which was good for them as Tippett will get it back out to Yulson up here on the point. Couturier camped out in front, and then we're just going to let old-fashioned hockey take its course. There's a little tip job in front there. Flyers are up 1-0. Luckily, Michkov gets away with a non-call there as he was very guilty of the interference. I definitely would have called it. Ticky-tack, yeah, kind of away from the flow of the play. Not really. It was on the puck. I would have called that, personally. I would have. But the Flyers do get up 1-0 on the Avalanche in a game where I think everybody expected that. I know I did. I expected the Flyers to get up on them. I expected them to get up on them and skate away with this game. But it was good to see that. Let's Washington eliminated and Flyers still not good. Let's Washington eliminated and the Flyers still not good. Now, listen, the Flyers. The question of good or bad between the Philadelphia Flyers is not a relevant question anymore, or not right now. The Flyers are a work in progress, and that's what they were. And today, as I said at the top of this, they had an opportunity. It was a mark-on-the-wall game. It was a lot like that Devils game when they were going back-to-back after coming off the island, and then they were playing New Jersey the next day. You wanted to see how they reacted to that in a divisional game against a team that was in first place, or I think the Devils are still in first place, and they came out and they played well. Today, not necessarily. You're going up against a team that's really a perennial. They should be one of the Final Four teams standing in the NHL when this is all said and done with this year. I think they came into this game with one loss on the season, for God's sakes. They're a good hockey team. They're a very good hockey team, the Colorado Avalanche. But you had them coming off back-to-back. You had them. They decided to go with Mackenzie Blackwood on back-to-back games. And you had an opportunity to really push it to them, and they didn't, and it just sort of separates the Flyers from the Avs and how far away they actually are from them. But to sit there and say the Flyers are not a good hockey team, I'm not ready to go there. Penn State to make Terry Smith highest paid come on, Star Wars, man, we're talking hockey here, man. But yeah, Penn State is on the way to find their new head coach. All right, so Flyers up 1-0. And that would last for about 6 minutes as Brett Burns would get this game tied at the 8:28 mark of the first period. His fourth from Nickus and Drury to give the tied up at 1 apiece. Let's bing this thing up. And I think this is when we're going to start seeing the magical play of Sam Ersson. Yes, that mystery that he is, the frustration that is Sam Ersson. And I believe this is one of those goals. They did get one goal up close to that. I'm not going to hang that on Ersson, but sure as heck going to hang the rest of them. Well, let's get this. Let's key up the goal for the Avalanche here. All right. So Avalanche control the puck inside the Flyers zone. Matter of fact, this is I am going to use this as a teaching moment because you're going to see the Flyers' defensive style sort of very obvious right now. So as you can see, look where the Flyers are headed right now. They are very interested in that, quarter or dot up to the net point of the ice, and they're going to concede a lot of stuff long. They're not shorthanded. They're not down, but the Flyers are a team that likes to play in the net. They like to collapse down, and there's a little bit of an over pursuit by the defense there. That sort of kind of sets this up. And but still, I'm sorry, man. That shot. Let's pop that back because there is something here to talk about as well. I'm not saying this was a clean goal in terms of like Ersson, all on Ersson, but at the end of the day, Ersson needs to do better. But so again, the Avalanche with the puck around the net. You guys sort of an over pursuit here of the defense. Both defenders sort of sliding together, which is not good. Kind of leaves that gap right there. Tippett, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but they're going to let somebody flow in. Now, is that Tippett's guy? It's not. This is Tippett's a right winger in this position. In offense, the wingers play up, or on defense, the wingers play up, and the defense plays back. that makes any sense to you guys. So defense would actually be back here by Urson, and the offensive forwards are up top playing the point. So letting this guy kind of sit down in here away from the rest of the coverage, it's fundamental. No, it's not. But I'm okay with it because, again, the way the Flyers play defense, they push everything out. And, does he sort of kind of confuse things? Maybe. But still, you got to do better. You absolutely got to do better with that. And I'm very certain that teams are scheming to shoot at Urson a certain way, and that is definitely one of those ways. As you can see, the dot elevated far side, it once again confuses Urson, and the Avalanche will tie this thing up at 1. And they weren't done. About 10 minutes later, as we were less than a minute remaining in the period, and we've talked about that multiple times, you don't want to give up goals at the end of the period or the beginning of the period. Brock Nelson is 10th on the power play, a point of concern here with the Flyers and their penalty kill. They have given up a slew of goals for the past 3 games, shorthanded. I believe now we're up to 7, and that's got to change, as the Flyers have been getting victimized a little bit on the penalty kill. The assists were from McKinnon and Maker. I mean, this is sort of like the all-star group right here. Nelson, McKinnon, and Maker. And that's, again, this is what puts the Avalanche to a certain level above where the Flyers can hope to be, right? Because of these 3 players specifically. Make the score 2-1. And let's bring that up. I think this is the goal that's up front. Actually, no, I think this is, well, we'll see. Big prayers up for Zach Ertz. I did see something that he got hurt. Zach Ertz, don't ever want to see that. Star Wars keeping us all up to date on what's happening in the world of the NFL on this Sunday afternoon. So we're waiting on this goal, this clip to populate. But this was the goal that really kind of got me concerned about this game. They get up to that 2-1 lead, you're happy, or you get up to that 1-0 lead, you're happy. You give up the equalizer, okay. All right, they punched back. Now you got to punch, and then they didn't. And I was getting concerned at this point that this was going to go a different way for the Flyers. And let's bring this up. Again, the Avs are on the power play, and we are literally at 59.2 seconds remaining in the period, 24 seconds on the power play. Let's pick up the action. This is obviously their power play 1 unit. This is the unit with these McKinnon and Makar, and these players are on it. And we're just going to sit up basic. Now, this is like I was talking about. So when you're shorthanded, you can sort of throw a lot of these things out the window. But the Flyers are playing a very collapsed style of defense. This is definitely a Rick Tocchet situation, right? They're really conceding everything up here. A lot of teams don't play. There's not much press happening on the majority of penalty kills. So most NHL teams give those lanes on the kill, but the Flyers are playing an uber aggressive, let's cram the net style here, as they're giving away a lot of space here. And unfortunately, it's not, I love it. I would much prefer to keep the front of the net clean. And I would much prefer it if you're going to have to choose between one, give up the passing lanes, push the shots out, but you got to get better play from your goddamn goalie if you're going to do it. And the Flyers are just not getting that as we'll let this thing sort of develop. But they're going to be very complacent with giving up everything at distance. And yeah, this is this is what playing this type of style defense is supposed to prevent. This, as you had an overflow, you had 3 Flyers in front of the net, and you had 2 Avalanche, and they still won the battle for the loose puck as it came out from behind the net on a perfectly designed play there, and beats Urson. Not necessarily on Urson on that. Flyers sort of got outmaneuvered and outmuscled on that play, and it is now 2-1. But I wanted you to see how that defense looks, the way the Flyers like to play it. So 2-1 is your score heading into the first intermission, second period. For that period, The Avalanche painfully outshot the Flyers 12-3. Another concern. Again, this is a team you would not know what team played yesterday based on, or you wouldn't know that the Avalanche played yesterday. Of course, you would probably consider it was the Flyers who played yesterday, as they were out-muscled, out-hustled, out-worked by a team that played an overtime game like 24 hours ago. And that's, again, concerning when the Flyers haven't played for 3 games or 3 days. So they outshot the Flyers 12-3 in that first period. On to the second period, well, Valerie Nikuchin would get his 7th of the season at the 1:47 mark. So you gave up a late goal to head into the dressing room, and you give up an early goal coming out of the dressing room. This is definitely at the stage of the game where I'm very concerned at this point. You get outshot 12-3 in the first period. You give up the goal at the end of the period, and you give up the goal at the beginning of the period. And that is when I start getting really concerned that we're in a spot that for some odd reason you're just not ready to play. And I don't know how to respond to that, because you had an opportunity today. You had an opportunity to sort of put the NHL on notice and say, listen, we can hang with a team like the Avalanche. I mean, they lost 3-2, but still, you look at all the X factors heading into this game, the Flyers should have won this hockey game just based on the environmental situations and the environmental stuff. So it's very concerning. But let's run this goal as we are in as the Avalanche are in their zone, and they're going to look for a breakout. So they're going to look to try to come out of the zone. Nothing extraordinary with this. We're just looking for an outlet pass. We're looking, waiting for something to develop. Nothing's developing, so let's just dump it. Now, the Flyers are going to press a little bit, and still you're liking all this. It gets kind of mixed around there at the blue line, but we're just going to have a very simple entry, a very simple pass across the ice. Once again, I'm okay with all of this. This is fine. You can't have it, man. I mean, come on. I don't. You want me to sit here and try to technically break these goals down? How the hell do I technically break that down? It doesn't get any more basic than that. I mean, there was a loose puck there at the blue line the Flyers might have been able to possess, right? You went cross ice with inside your own zone to try to set up that shot. But that is a clean look from distance. You got to have that. You just got to have that, Urson. I mean, there's nothing I can say more than that. And that's what's frustrating about these games. It's what's frustrating watching the Flyers play. It's the goaltending. And Sam Urson, again, I hate to keep riding him, but how much more do we got to see to know that he is not ready for this opportunity? It does not get any more basic than that. You know, I think in a lot of times with players, and I know this with players a lot of times when they get an opportunity like that and they just they just load up from distance and they let it rip, they're more concerned. Everyone's looking to score, but they're more concerned at times, more times than you would think, for that rebound. Because where they're at on the ice is not a very high percentage scoring place. But if you can get a rebound, you can get the puck loose in front, then you create a higher percentage of scoring opportunity for your team. But with Sam Urson back there, man, you just better just let it rip, man. Just go back. Matter of fact, just go on your side of the ice and let it rip. You might score. So the Flyers do go battle their way back here about 4 minutes later. Travis Konechny, good to see him starting to get the puck in the net. He was snake bitten today once again as he tries to battle his way back into relevancy. His 7th goal of the season, had multiple opportunities today. Could not find pay dirt except for this one time. But his 7th from Andre and Dvorak to get the Flyers back in this at 3-2. And let's take a look at this. This is going to be one of them old-fashioned, we got a rebound attempt that Urson lets go. But I think it kind of clicked off maybe his skate blade because it took a big rebound. Everyone over pursues it. It pops out, and the Flyers have an opportunity because of the over pursuit and the big rebound to start something nice and fun and happy. And then we're going to get the breakout here. We're going to get Konechny gets behind everybody, and he's going to walk himself in. This is a very pretty goal. And again, good to see Konechny score on an opportunity like this. He's just going to deke, and then he's going to go right 5-hole and get the Flyers back into this thing 3-2. A pretty goal. Again, you take your chances when you go for those rebounds. Erson gave up a fat rebound, but it was too fat as everybody over pursued it, and the Flyers end up with an odd man breakaway or odd man rush that turns into a breakaway. Go in the other way. But and that was all your scoring in the second period. Flyers were outshot in that period 13-9, a little bit better, but still a concern. You got a team that played yesterday. There was no scoring in a very modest third period. Yeah, I mean, there were some chances, but nothing over the top. Flyers outshot the Avalanche 13-3 in that third period, but just could not find the gusto that gets this thing tied and send it into overtime. And the Flyers fall today 3-2. And it's, again, a frustrating loss against a good team, but you had an opportunity, man. That's what pisses me off. Flyers, 25 shots were outshot today, 28-25 as the Avs potted 28. On the power play, the Flyers were 0 for 1. Avalanche were 1 for 2. There's some concerns here with that penalty kill right now. They've given up a lot of goals over the last 3 games, 7 now, I believe, to be exact, on the penalty kill. The Flyers did block 20 shots. They gave the puck away 16 times, and they took the puck away 7. And that's how you get 3-2. And frustrating for me to see. I was really looking forward to a better matinee opportunity by the Flyers to try to show the world in the NHL, look, we're here, and we want to be, we can skate with the Avs. We can play with the Avs. We can beat the Avs. We don't have to, we don't have to like lean on the fact that they're coming off back to back. We don't got to do that because we're a good hockey team. But today, they just didn't have it, and coming off that 3-day break, it's concerning that they didn't have it. And a team like the Avalanche, who played yesterday and had to go to overtime, did have it. And that's sort of, the worlds apart between the Avalanche and the Flyers. And we could put that mark on the wall because it still stands as a mark on the wall type game. But unfortunately for the Flyers, that mark on the wall today is more on a negative, concerning side to see the actual distance between these two teams is. But that's how you get 3-2. And here's your clear the ice for this coming week. 4 games on the schedule this week. I'm back again on Tuesday night for some clear the ice Sharks. Mike Laurel has you on Thursday against the maybe not Carter Hart Golden Knights, as he's dealing with an injury day to day. Saturday, Mike will be back for the Hurricanes, and I got you Sunday as we go home and home with the Carolina Hurricanes to wrap up your week, and can't wait to get it started. Not a good way to get it started, though. Very frustrating game, and calling the question a lot of things. And another one of those reality moments. So Flyers lose today 3-2. We will talk to you. I will see you again tomorrow, tonight at 9, actually, for the final word. The final word will be seen tonight at 9. It didn't make it on the schedule, but it will be seen tonight at 9 o'clock. And then following me, as soon as they go final in Baltimore, you got the Steelers, Steel City Sunday postgame show, and the guys will be there for that. And we got everything that's going on again for the week, as I've showed you earlier at the top of the show, everything else that's happening this week. So until we see each other again, you guys have yourselves a great rest of your Sunday. Flyers lose 3-2 in a frustrating reality-based game that shows you the distance between a Stanley Cup contending team and the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll talk to you guys tonight. Take care.